I'm a huge proponent that every recipe is a blank canvas just waiting to be modified, and this dish is a perfect example of that. I snagged it out of a cookbook called Blue Zone's Kitchen. If you've never heard of Blue Zones, I encourage you to head on over to Netflix and check it out. This recipe is actually dedicated to all of my melanin brothers and sisters out there, because I know either you or somebody that you know had a pot of black-eyed peas with some smoked meat going on December 31st, ready to ring in the new year. This is actually a vegetarian take on it. It is black-eyed peas reimagined. We're going to go ahead and dive right in. I soft cooked some black-eyed peas. This is approximately 1 cup of black-eyed peas. I covered it with some water, brought it to a boil, turned it down, covered it with a lid, and I allowed it to sit for 1 hour. I'm going to put this over to the side while I get some of my aromatics going, and then we'll reincorporate that into the black-eyed peas. I have all of my aromatics here, and I have my skillet preheating. This is 1 small to medium-sized red onion. The recipe calls for about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic, but I love garlic so much, I doubled it. This is an Anaheim pepper. I know they come in hot, but I prefer mild because I like to add flavor without all the extra heat to my beans or my stews. This is a fresh fennel. Usually I use fennel for dried fennel for my cabbage, but this recipe calls for fresh fennel. If you've never had it, it has kind of like a licorice taste to it, but I think it's delicious. I'm going to start with chopping my Anaheim pepper. My skillet is heating over there, so we want to get this going. Turn that around. I'm gonna de-seed it, take out all the seeds. And I think I'm probably just gonna put half of this in there. But I love Anaheim peppers. I love them. Anytime I'm preparing some beans or stew, you will find an Anaheim pepper in there. It's packed full of flavor. The goal for any meal, any dish, is to add as much flavor as possible. And this is our fennel. And I did pre-clean this. You can actually use the tops of it as garnish. The recipe does call for dill, fresh dill on the top of it. I didn't find that to be very palatable for this dish, so I decided to go with just using the tops of the fennel for a little garnish. I had to give the fennel another rinse since it was so compacted, but I am going to finish chopping that. And you can coarse chop it. It doesn't have to be small pieces. I'm just going to coarse chop this so that the fennel is probably about the same size as the peppers. I'm going to use the tops as well. I'll just reserve this part for garnish. It almost looks like celery. It even sounds like it. I'm going to pour in about half of this olive oil. I think I'm going to turn that up a little bit. And since the fennel will probably take longer to cook, I'm going to add that to the skillet first. Of course, when you add something to heat, something that's cold or room temperature, it drops the temperature down. So you have to crank it up a little bit more. So these will need to cook until they are softened, so approximately 12, maybe 15 minutes. I'm going to add in the Anaheim peppers. Add in the onions. Give that a little bit of a stir. Add in our garlic. This will need to saute for about 12 to 15 minutes. Once it softens, then we can reincorporate this back into our black-eyed peas. I have my aromatics, my veggies sauteed. They have been sauteing for at least 12 minutes. They are soft. I am going to slide that over and bring over our black-eyed peas. Now that we have our veggies sauteed, I'm going to turn that up so that I can incorporate the veggies into the pot with the black-eyed peas. There was a little caramelization going in the skillet too, so that imparts additional flavor into this dish. Now, this recipe did not call for the Anaheim pepper that I'm adding to this or some of the other ingredients. But again, this is a blank canvas waiting to be reimagined, to be modified. Now I'm going to add some tomatoes. This is some coarsely chopped tomatoes. I'm going to add that to the pot. This is some tomato paste. It's approximately 2 teaspoons of tomato paste. Pour that in. This is olive oil. The recipe did call for 1 cup of olive oil. I used half to saute the veggies, and then I'm going to pour the remaining olive oil in the pot. It may seem like a lot of olive oil, but olive oil is very healthy for you. And that's the reason why I decided to prepare a modified or reimagined version of black-eyed peas, because food is here to feed our souls, but also to nourish our bodies. I have 2 bay leaves that I'm going to add to the pot. And then this is something that the recipe does not call for, but I always wanted to try Calabrian chilies, because if you've ever watched any episodes of Bobby Flay, he's always using Calabrian, I think it's pronounced Calabrian chilies. And I wanted to try this chili, and I did. And it is so, now I know why Bobby Flay likes it. So I'm actually going to add a little bit of heat to these black-eyed peas by putting a little of that Calabrian chili in there. And then you always want to finish with a little bit of salt, preferably Celtic salt. So I put some sprinkles of that in there. The recipe does not call for black pepper, but salt, pepper, they're married. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. Now the pot is heating up. I can hear it sizzling. Give that a stir to get everything incorporated. Let me show you how this looks. See that? A pot full of yum. If you wanted to add some carrots to this, you could. Whatever your palate enjoys, go ahead and put it in there. This is a very simple recipe, and I think that was the whole premise behind the Blue Zone. Now, I know these black eyed peas do not have smoked ham hocks in them, but if you wanted to make this a meat-based dish, by all means, add a smoked turkey leg to it, which would be a healthier option for you. I oftentimes add a smoked turkey leg to my collard greens or to my beans, but it's just a personal choice. Again, this is a blank canvas for you to modify this dish however you would like. This has come up to a boil. Now, this will need to cook for an additional 45 minutes to an hour. So I'm going to add a little more liquid to it because I want the beans to be fully covered, the black eyed peas to be fully covered with water. And then I'm going to add the lid back to this and allow this to simmer for an additional 45 minutes to an hour, and then it'll be ready to serve. Here is the finished product. It is a black eyed pea vegetarian Ikarian stew, and I have to say, it's really delicious. You've got to try it. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, share. Be sure to set your notifications and meet me back here on the next Soul Food Reimagined. I think that last one is good.